What's up, guys? All right, so on this video, we're going to look at a place value and a rounding. So what that would mean is you get some number like 5.1345, let's say, and they could ask you round this to the nearest tenth or hundredth or thousandth, and you need to know what they're talking about. Okay, so key point is, so you have this decimal point right here, yeah. Okay, and then like this one. Each of these represents a different place value. That's what it's called. Okay, so like this one is the tenths. It's gonna be hard to write all these out, so I'll just do the tenths. Right, as the starting point. Okay, so the one is in the tenths place. This 3 is in the hundredths place, and it keeps going to the right. 4 is thousandths, 5 is 10,000ths. It's rare that you'd have to know 10,000ths, but really if you know just tenths, hundredths, thousandths, you're in good shape. Okay, so we'll kind of do each of them here, right? So if they said round it to the nearest tenth. Okay, so what you're looking at there is the 10th place, you have a 1, right? Okay, and then the very next number to the right, if it's a 5 or higher, 5, 6, 7, 8, or 9, you round up, right? So from a tenth standpoint, like if here we have 5.13, right? So because it's a 3 and it's not greater than 5, then we round down, we just keep it at 1, right? So that's 5.1. Now, if that number, this 3, if it was a 5 or a 6 or any number greater than 5, then we would round up and it would be 5.2. Okay, so that's tenths. And then we have hundredths. Okay, so with hundredths, then we're looking at, okay, so the number that we're looking at really is 5.13, right? That 3 is in the hundredths place. And then you're looking at the very next number, right? Which in this case is a 4, right? And so again, that's not greater than 5, and so we keep it down at that 5. We keep it, when we say round down, really you can just think of it as keep it the same, right? 5.13. Okay, if that 4 was a 5, then we would have rounded it up to 5.14, if that all makes sense. And then we'll do one more here for this problem. Okay, and then for the last one, we have 5.1345, right? And so if they're asking us, so we've done the tenths, we've done the hundredths. If we're doing thousandths, then that 4 is in the thousandths place, and then we're looking one spot to the right to see if we should round up or round down, right? So one spot to the right is this 5, right? And so again, if it's 5 or greater, then we round up, right? And so that would mean rather than saying 5.134, it'll be 5.135. So when you're first getting used to this stuff, it can seem a little confusing about exactly what do I round it up to, but really it's pretty simple, right? If the next digit to the right is 5 or greater, then we round up 1. If it's not, then we just leave the number as it is. Okay, so that's rounding. Okay, so like I said, once you get used to it, I don't think you'll find it to be very difficult, but you do have to, see enough practice problems so that you're comfortable with exactly how we round these things up. Okay. So what if, let's say we were given this number, 1,567,300. Okay, so that's our, oh, whoops, did that slightly wrong, 345.1458. Okay, so they could ask a lot of questions with this, couldn't they? Okay, so based on what we just did, so what if they said round to the nearest tenth? Okay, so already as it's tenth, you should be thinking that here's our decimal place. One spot to the right is tenths, right? So that's that 0.1. So already we know we're going to have 1,567,345. And then you know it's going to be either, when it's tenths, they're going to be 0.1 or 0.2, right? Okay, so we have 0.14, right? Remembering, right, that number to the right, so the number to the right of 1, which is a 4. If it was a 5, we would round up and it would be 0.2. But because it's 0.14, then we make it 0.1. Okay, so there we've rounded to the nearest tenth. Okay, now what about hundredth? Like I should have some music going or something, I'm writing all this stuff out. So if I'm rounding to the nearest hundredth, okay, then we have that whole number, and then it's right to the nearest hundredth. So it goes tenth and then hundredth, right? So now we have 0.14, and the question is it going to be 0.14 or 0.15, right? Those are the only two possibilities for hundredth. That's the only way we could possibly round it up. So like even like as you're just kind of like thinking about multiple choice, is there probably will be, almost for sure there'll be other answers, right, that aren't either 0.14 or 0.15, right? And eliminate those immediately. We can at least do that to give ourselves a better chance to get the question right, because those are the only two possibilities. Okay, now they're asking nearest hundredth. So we have that 4, we're looking one to the right, there's a 5 over there, right? And so then because we have that 5 right here next to the 4, is now we're going to round up, right? So our answer will be the 1,567,345.15. Okay, so there's all of those, and the last one, excuse me, is there are these numbers going to the left of the decimal point. Okay, and so within that, like this 5 right here is in the ones place. Okay, so there's a ones place where going to the right, the first one was tenth. So there's ones and then tens, hundreds. Like this 7 would be in the thousands place. And so for these kind of questions, they'll ask you like round this number to, let's say they said round it to the nearest 100. Okay, and so what that would mean is your answer would be 1,567,000 and then to the nearest 100. So then it's either 300 or 400. Those are only possibilities, right? And so you look at the 3. Yeah, you look at the 3 right there. And the very next number to the right is a 4, not high enough to round it up to the next 100. And so we keep it there. If the number was 351, then we would round it up to 400. And so it's really exactly the same concept. It just, that's usually what you'll hear. If the question was round to the nearest 10, let's say, okay, then right here we have 345, right? So the tens place is this 4 right here. Okay, so to the nearest 10, and then the very next number is a 5, right? Which means round up. Okay, so because of that, to the nearest 10, we'd have 1,567,350. So in that case, we round up. So these mostly just take a little practice to get comfortable with. Really the math aspect of it is almost non-existent. You're not having to really add or subtract or do anything. So this has been place value. Hopefully it makes sense, and you'll be ready for it on your test.